Google anything, and I Googled Eddystone Light, and I found out where it is.
I know exactly where it is.
Yes, sir. And it sits off the Plymouth coast, off England. And the Wikipedia shows it just south of Plymouth, England, and it was first constructed in 1698, which is amazing. And it's this outcropping of rocks just south of the Plymouth Harbor. And the current lighthouse is the fifth one to be built, and it gives a group of 2 white flashes every 10 seconds. So it's a good marker. And here it is up close with the current one and the stump of the previous one left on the rock. And I found it on Eddystone Lighthouses in the worldwidelighthouses.com. Sorry, can you guys see?
No.
And there were a succession of 5 of them. From the first one built, which was made of wood and didn't last but a year. 1698 by Henry Winstanley. The tower was small but very decorative, made mainly wood, and only stood for a year. But it was clear that it had been weakened, so a new tower had to be built. Winstanley's second Eddystone Lighthouse, built in 1699, was similar to the first, but it was larger and more decorative. It was carrying out repairs in the tower in 1703. A large storm washed the tower away, killing Winstanley and 5 other men. John Runyon's 1709 tower was more recognizable lighthouse design. The tower was mostly wooden and the roof was made of lead. The tower burnt in 1755, and the keeper died 12 days later, having consumed 5 ounces of molten lead from the roof.
How can you do that?
The first successful tower on the Eddystone Rocks was the light designed by John Smeaton. The curved base of the tower deflected the waves that hit it, leaving it strong. The stones were interlocked using a method known as dovetailing, so no part of this tower could easily fall apart. It's now the most well-known landmark in Plymouth, now standing on Plymouth Hoe, which we'll see. John Smeaton was born in 1724 and went to grammar school and won Copley Medal, and he built a lot of interesting designs, including the lighthouse and the Coldstream Bridge. And here's a picture of him. As painting, and several other pictures of him, and you can see this was the days of big hair for men. And the new tower, which still remains used, was built in 1882, the design of James Douglas. Smeaton's tower proved strong, and the replacement came as the rock itself started to crack, but the tower remained intact. Residents of Plymouth liked the tower, and so they paid for it to be taken apart and reassembled on Plymouth Hoe. Only a small section of it remains in the rock. this part was rebuilt on the whole, so the tower looked as it did in its original location. To aid the automation, a helipad was constructed on the new tower, which allowed for, and it was allowed that it could be pushed off and dumped in the sea during storms to avoid additional structures being totally destroyed. The tower, which we see here in its original design, rock, with Smeaton's original dovetailed base, which was quite clever for the times. And showing the little boats that way they had to carry the rocks out, and it was a real nuisance for the people building the tower. And there was a lot of complaints by the workers of how difficult it was with the weather and moving it. And Smeaton, he learned mathematical instrument making in London, and his scientific papers led to his election in the Royal Society in 1753. He also visited the Low Country, studying canals, harbors, and mills. And this tour was a turning point in his career. So he built the third Eddystone Lighthouse using the dovetail blocks of Portland stone to withstand the pounding of the waves. This technique became standard for such wave-swept structures. While planning the lighthouse, he discovered the best mortar for underwater construction to be limestone with a high proportion of clay. Thus, he was first to recognize what constitutes a hydraulic line. He also constructed the Forth and Clyde canals in Scotland and opened the waterway between the Atlantic and the North Sea. Built bridges Perth, Banff, and Coldstream, Scotland, and completed the harbour at Ramsgate, Kent. He also took a leading part in the transition from wind and water to steam power. He introduced cast iron shafts and gearing into windmills and water mills, receiving the Royal Society's Copley Medal for an experimental inquiry concerning the natural powers of water and wind to turn windmills. He also developed the Newcomb atmospheric engine, which achieved its maximum performance, and he designed a lot of atmospheric pumping engines for the Long Benton Colliery in Northumberland, Chasewater, Marden, and Cornwall, and the docks of Kronstadt in Russia. He also improved the safety of the diving bell by fitting an air pump to the bell. All very obvious things today, but then it was a big improvement. And here's the Photoshop version of the old lighthouse next to the new one. And you can see the helipad at the roof of the new one. And more of the old one in picture form and more decorative. And here's the curve, the old one photoshopped again. And here we see Plymouth Hall Park, just south of Plymouth. And here we see the tower off in the distance. And here's the current version, sitting there with, I guess this is a swimming pool. And there it is up close. And it flashes, 2 white flashes every 10 seconds. And they left the interlocked rock base that Smeaton designed is a tribute to him and showing the new tower. And it's a mild day there, but the weather can be quite treacherous. And here's the Eddystone Light shanty, which Diane will organize on us. Yes. I didn't see that when I prepped the talk.
The helipad is for helping automation, so we use automation.
Pardon?
The helipad is installed for automation.
Yeah, no, to carry the workers out and back. And I would guess now that it's automated. So,
So
our
now,
skipper.
if we turn to page 18 in our hymnals, and may I have our guests up at the front with their sponsors, so Bob and George and Rose and Anne. Don't worry if you don't know it.
We throw things at you.
Supposed to be really good. It's supposed to be really good show.
Oh yeah, sorry.
I enjoyed it first. I saw you loved it.
Whether you get it
Okay, are we ready?
Shellback, how is the Hellskin chorus today? My father kept the Eddystone Light. He married a mermaid there one night, and out of the marriage came offspring three. Two was fishes and the other was me. Singing yo-hee-ho, and yo-hee-hee. There's nothing like the life on the rolling sea. One night as I was a-trimming the glim, singing the verse of the evening hymn, a voice from the starboard shouted, ahoy! And there was me mother a-sitting on a buoy, singing yo-hee-ho, and yo-hee-hee. There's nothing like the life on the rolling sea. At night when the wind and the waves ran high, my mother would sit on the rocks and cry, and father would shout, come in from the gale. But the only answer was a wiggle of her tail, singing yo-hee-ho, and yo-hee-hee. There's nothing like the life on the rolling sea. The phosphorus gleamed in her seaweed hair. I looked again, and my mother wasn't there, but a voice came echoing out of the night. To hell with the keeper of the Eddystone Light. Singing yo-hee-ho, and yo-hee-hee. There's nothing like the life on the rolling sea.
Thank you, Alan. And thank you, Jim, for that little background of history on the Eddystone Light. We appreciate it. Round of applause, please.
You're welcome.